So here's a fun idea for all of you. What if King Ghidorah existed in Warhammer 40k? Now, I did this similar a few months back with Godzilla, and I thought that was pretty fun. But today I'm going to do it with a kaiju that would not only be able to travel from planet to planet, but arguably my favorite of the Godzilla kaiju, outside of Godzilla himself, obviously. So I thought it'd be kind of fun of what if we just took Ghidorah, threw him into this universe, and what would that ensue? What kind of effect would he have on the galaxy of Warhammer 40k? So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, the big question is, what Ghidorah are we going to be using for this matter? Basically, we're going to be more or less kind of using a Ghidorah that is kind of a mixture of Showa Ghidorah and Monsterverse Ghidorah. I was thinking of, because there's so many variations of Ghidorah, and I think literally Void Ghidorah from the Godzilla anime trilogy movies would possibly be in the running for a fifth chaos god, honestly, because that thing literally does work like a fucking chaos god. So Void Ghidorah or Shin Ghidorah, they're out. This is going to be basically kind of a, like I said, mixture of Monsterverse meets Showa. So nothing overpowered, but still powerful in this universe. Now, what would Ghidorah's role be in this? When you throw Ghidorah into this universe, no Gigan, no Godzilla, no other kaiju, it is just him. Well, Ghidorah, originally, when Ghidorah showed up in his original film, Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, essentially, King Ghidorah was just a destroyer of worlds. That's all he did. All he did was just wipe out a planet, move on to the next planet, because it was essentially fun for him. There was no reasoning for it. There was just, I'm here to fuck your planet up, and then I'm going to move on to fuck up the next planet. So Ghidorah would almost be treated like a tall tale, kind of like the Doom of Malantai, or remember that Tyranid that swallowed Hive Fleet Malantai, not Hive Fleet, Craftworld Malantai? Yeah. I imagine Ghidorah would have the same thing because, yeah, the 40k galaxy is massive, and there are so many planets that are not in connection with each other that are literally, there are so many worlds in the Imperium alone that don't realize that what kind of wars are going on, or have never seen a Chaos Marine, or even any kind of Xeno, or even seen a Space Marine, or even aware of a war. So that's the big thing, is that I think Ghidorah would go undetected. He'd almost be like a myth, almost like a Moby Dick of the spaceways, where he would just annihilate a planet, no one would notice, and then he'd move on, and when a fleet or something arrives, they just be like, oh, well, this was done by some Xenos threat, like maybe Tau or even the Tyranids, so we'll just move on to the next one. Maybe not the Tau, but they'd probably blame it on Xenos or Chaos and then move on to the next one. And Ghidorah wouldn't even be detected. He'd probably be, he'd be treated like a myth. That would just be there's this golden dragon flying around with 3 heads, and it's just comes to your planet and kills everything and moves on. Yeah, Ghidorah could quite literally get away with that for eons. No one would that's how big the 40k galaxy is that there are things out there, horrifying Lovecraftian things out in the galaxy, that people just stumble upon, that have been there since time immemorial. So Ghidorah could just plop down on a planet, fucking annihilate it, move on. And no one would be wiser. So, yeah. That's what I think is the biggest edge King Ghidorah would have in this universe, is that he'd go undetected for millennia, possibly. There is a good shot he could go on for thousands of years and just be treated at best a myth, or an urban legend of the spaceways. Whole fleets gone, they just blame it on the warp or Xenos or something, or the other Xenos would be like, well, that was weird, but it's probably those Imperiums or Necrons or something, we just ran into something. So let's say Ghidorah became more known as he went on. As he went terrorizing the galaxy, he became more of a noted threat. Ghidorah is incredibly powerful. Let's not mince words. He is a being that Godzilla, like, he is Godzilla's arch rival for a reason. This dude can take so much fucking punishment. And I've talked about it before, where the Imperium, as vast as it is, and its big thing is its numbers, a lot of its weapons are pretty archaic, and they could possibly virus bomb Ghidorah, but I think that would weaken him, but I don't think that would kill him. This dude has literally taken nukes, multiple nukes, to the face in a lot of the extended lore of Godzilla. He has taken on entire alien armadas that were far more advanced than mankind ever was. Remember, in the original Showa film, Ghidorah annihilated Venus, Mars in the English dub, and that race was far more advanced than any culture in the galaxy. Like, even the princess of Venus, or again Mars, basically said we were far more advanced, and Ghidorah wiped us out. So imagine this ancient, dying, archaic fleet, a naval fleet from the Imperium, firing all guns or even dropping a virus bomb on Ghidorah. The best you're going to do is give him a headache, and he's gunning for you now. And then, not only that, Ghidorah is one of the few openly malicious kaiju. He's malevolent and petty as shit. Now, after he blows up your fleet, he's going to go to the nearest Imperium planet, wipe out the humans there, and then make it a mission to just take time to wipe out humanity, because he's a petty bitch like that. So yeah. Now, the other thing is, again, like, the Imperium would probably see Ghidorah as they would see it as some being from the warp, like some unknown hellspawn formed from the depths of the warp and come on behalf of the Chaos Gods or some shit like that, and would view it like although once they have identified that he's an alien, it's not going to change anything. The Inquisitorius is just going to be like, we're going to move this from Malum to Oros Xenos. That's going to be their problem now. And the I imagine they would try to be like, they wouldn't even bother trying to understand anything further other than it's a threat to us, it's evil, we got to kill it. So he'd be almost I imagine whole Space Marine legions could probably look at Ghidorah and see remember stories of the Emperor and his battle with the dragon, aka the Catan shard that he chucked into Mars. So it would be like Space Marines would view, some Space Marines and some even chapters would view Ghidorah as a prize to kill. I imagine the Salamanders would be like, we fight things big as that on Nocturne, so we could take him. So I would stand to reason that the Space Marines would view it like we're fighting like our father did against the dragon, battling as the Emperor did against a mighty monster that was threatening mankind. Something of that degree would be kind of cool. I think the other thing that would be of note is that the universe at large, like I said, we go back to how big the 40K galaxy is, and Ghidorah could just vanish. If they're fleets would be dedicated to hunting Ghidorah, he could just vanish for ages, and these fleets would try to track him, and he's just flying through the galaxy no problem. He could just hide there. I have to stress, the 40K galaxy is the best hiding spot for Ghidorah. There's literally no way you could just lose him in a matter of days or weeks if you don't constantly follow him. And I hate to break it to you, but he flies pretty fucking fast. Now, let's talk about the other factions. We've talked about a lot of the Imperium as a whole, but what about the other factions? What could combat Ghidorah? I think there are realistically only 3 races that could possibly kill Ghidorah, that have the weaponry and the know-how to kill Ghidorah. The first and foremost, I think would be the Necrons. Almost said the Tau, but they are on this list. We'll get to them in a moment. The Necrons obviously have god-killing weaponry, and once Ghidorah wipes out a tomb world, you don't think the Silent King and the Council would be like, fuck him. if he just destroys one tomb world, that's like a whole planet gone and a whole dynasty wiped out. I also imagine Trazyn would have the biggest robotic hard-on to add Ghidorah to his collection on Solemnus. Let's be real, he would do that. But I guarantee you, the Necrons, once they figure out that Ghidorah is a threat and destroying probably even 1 or 2 tomb worlds, going on 3, Silent King would be like, kill that fucking thing. And I guarantee you, they will probably use the, I can't remember the name of it, basically just click a star system out of existence. Like, because again, they have god-killing weaponry. Even the ones they've lost, they still have enough to like wipe out a good chunk of your worlds. So they could just lure Ghidorah to a planet and be like, click, boom, gone. Yeah, so the Necrons, I think, would be the best shot at it. They have the weaponry to kill him. Now, the next one on that list is the Tau. The Tau, admittedly, Ghidorah, if he was attacking the Tau Empire, all 50, 60 planets of it, he'd probably wipe out a good number of them. Now, this really depends on the Tau and how fast they can build. And it'd be a race against time, because if Ghidorah decided, I'm just going to wipe out all these planets that are so clustered together, that is the Tau Empire, Ghidorah it would be a rush against time to figure out a weapon to kill Ghidorah. The Tau are capable of that, because they are one of the most scientifically advanced races out there. So they would probably build something, arguably a mecha, because again, they're fucking weeb Gundam users. So I imagine the Tau would just build just a giant Jaeger to fight Ghidorah and kill him. Could that work? I don't know. But I imagine the Tau would probably have the second best shot at killing him. Finally, the Eldar. The Eldar, there's a fourth race. I'll get to them, actually. But the third race would be the Eldar. They're incredibly powerful, and I would imagine the Eldar, regardless of craft worlds and the Exodites, would probably team up after he destroyed 1 or 2 craft worlds. Like, if Ghidorah came across a craft world and destroyed it, Yvraine and the other, Eldar, especially Iyanden and the other ones, and Craft World Baelton would go out of its way for this. They'd be like, oh, I want to fight. So, the Eldar would definitely, again, they have enough technology, and I think their Psyker abilities, I don't think Psyker abilities would do much against Ghidorah, but from the Imperium, I should say. But on the level of the Eldar, that's a whole other level. So I think they could actually do some mental damage to Ghidorah. Maybe even some physical power to himself, especially Ulthuan. Not Ulthuan, excuse me. I said wrong Warhammer. Wrong Warhammer. But yeah, everyone on Craft World Iyanden and everything else, I think they could handle it. But that one depends solely on if the Craft Worlds can, bring everything to heal and fight him. And fight Ghidorah, or at the bare minimum, trap him in the webway, or something of that matter. Finally are the Tyranids. I think the Tyranids also have a solid shot of being one of the races to kill him. Reason being is because they could just swarm him. They could swarm him and consume biomass. If Ghidorah, flew into a hive fleet, he's going to realize that those ships are capable of biting him back. Even if they attacked him on a planet, the amount of swarming on Ghidorah's body would be enough. They would probably overwhelm him, probably throw in some bio-titans as well, and then consume his biomass, and then you have Tyranid Ghidorahs. That's arguably worse. Although I do kind of want to see fan art of that now, a Tyranid version of Ghidorah. That'd be kind of badass. Anyway, so those are the races I think that could definitely, the 4 races that have the best shot of killing Ghidorah. As for Chaos, let's talk about Chaos for a second. Chaos would, Khorne would see, this thing is awesome. This thing is just flowing blood for me everywhere. I think the Chaos Gods would want to have Ghidorah on their side. I think Abaddon would want him in the black, would try to, control Ghidorah and bend him to his will for the Black Crusade. And not to say Ghidorah isn't capable of that. Ghidorah, as powerful as he is, we have seen him be the servant of, or the slave of other alien races. Like, he's been the henchman before. So it could easily be that Chaos, if they'd probably not want to kill him, because they could see, like, what a valuable weapon of destruction he could be. Unless he became too ornery, yeah, they would Abaddon and other Chaos Legion, Chaos Warbands would definitely be like, I want him on my team. But if they can't have him, they'll kill him or try to in some capacity. Could you imagine getting a demon to possess a Chaos possessed Ghidorah? Could you just imagine the hell that would be? That's another great fan art I'd love to see, Chaos Ghidorah. Anyway, all in all, I think King Ghidorah would just be an absolute menace in this universe. But there are ways they can get around it. But I do see heavy losses at the end of the day. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you think it would be like if King Ghidorah existed in the Warhammer 40k universe? Do you think Ghidorah would just be an absolute menace, or do you think he would be beaten? Or in what races do you think could beat him, honestly? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in Multiverse.